LATD Nation, what is good? Once again, we are in here as always. Same old, same old. You already know who he is. RG from the 843. Rocking with y'all as usual.
Yes, sir. This your boy Jay, aka Jay Fix It. How y'all doing this morning?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And in case y'all ain't noticed, we got a very special guest. Some of y'all who've been longtime viewers of the channel may recognize him. Our very first guest and our only guest to this day.
So far, at least. Yeah. So far, at least. But of course.
No, definitely more guests coming this year. Just be patient with y'all. We're gonna get these interviews, these special appearances out. But for now, go ahead and introduce yourself.
It's DJ, aka Chillybear, aka Space Ghost, aka the Hood Superhero. It's a beautiful day.
Yes, sir.
How y'all doing?
Shit, can't complain.
Yeah, bro, we good, bro. It's a beautiful morning. But what we looking at the details of today, bro?
Shit, today we're just gonna have a little conversation. A conversation that is very common.
Controversial.
Hip hop heads such as ourselves. 90s versus 2000s. Well, no. 90s and 2000s versus modern hip hop. Kind of just an open forum discussion, debating as to what we think is better.
Yeah, this about to be controversial.
Oh, yeah.
But it has to be talked about, so.
Old heads beware.
Yes, sir, because I got a lot to say about y'all. God bless you. But anyway, bro, let's start our first category, the 90s.
Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and break down the 90s, to the early 2000s, roughly. We're going to kind of just discuss what it is about this era in particular that we personally appreciate or maybe don't appreciate. So,
right,
y'all, if y'all want to go ahead and get started, highlight some of the things that you really love about the era or don't love.
Start us off, big homie.
With the 90s, it was more about individuality. You actually got more attention. Like, the more different you sounded, the more like yourself, I guess, you sounded. You got more attention as opposed to right now where it's like
everybody
you try to blend in, you try to get in where everybody else is fitting in. It's the opposite.
Yeah, no, I could definitely agree with that. I do think that back then it was more of a diversity of like sounds and styles, and I think also taking notes on this topic, I think regionality played a way bigger role back then. Personally,
right?
You could tell who came from where just based on like the lingo they were using, the flows they were using, and the production itself, like. I think one of the things that modern hip-hop fans, like guys that grew up around our era, may not always recognize being as if they're like a casual fan. They don't understand how important where you came from really kind of played a role in how you sounded. Because today, like you said, everything is kind of so more homogenous and kind of sort of everything kind of blends together, especially in the mainstream level.
Especially like around the Tupac era, that's when it really started becoming more about where you're from, like the whole East Coast, West Coast thing. I feel like commonly people would probably think it was like the whole East Coast, like Boston and this, that, and the third would be in the beef. But it was really just more Cali and New York, really. I didn't like, as far as like being where you're from is concerned, it was even a whole controversial debate at the Source Awards when Outkast became what did he get? Best New Artist?
Yeah. But the South wasn't a region. But remember that the South wasn't technically, because even though the South was really its own thing at that point.
Right, yeah, but they put
South was kind of just swept under the rug.
Back then, like,
Outkast puts on that.
That's why that was so like significant for its time, because it was like Andre to get on stage and be like, the South got something to say. Mm-hmm. This was in an era where the South wasn't appreciated whatsoever, wasn't respected. It was the East Coast versus the West Coast. This was 95, correct?
Right, yeah.
So 95. This was when Biggie was still alive, Pac was still alive. So they had their whole rivalry, whatever the case.
Like the whole rivalry itself is what could really much consume the Source Awards. Essentially, that's why both of them got booed the whole time. But it was just wild to me because I like Outkast is easily my favorite rap group of all time.
Same.
So it's like it was good for me because I did a whole report on them back in college, bro. Like this about like people that influenced me the most. So I love Outkast to this day. Just because of that moment. And then Tupac, on the other hand,
all right now.
I love Tupac's music too. Don't get me wrong. Y'all go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
we'll get on that later.
So yeah, no, for me, I think the '90s is like from top to bottom, especially around like you said, like the mid '90s was when you really started to see people kind of splinter off and all have their own different dialects and different flows, sounds. You had Outkast around the same time. You had something like an Illmatic with Nas. You had the same year Biggie, Ready to Die,
Reasonable Doubt,
so
Jay-Z.
And the thing is that even if you came from the same region, you still had people that sounded different in their own way. They had their own spin on it.
Oh yeah.
You see Jay-Z, he don't sound much like Nas at the time. And you just see kind of that diversity, and then you have Diddy, which I know it's crazy to mention.
I mean, he was unique in and of himself because he was just a terrible rapper.
No, but I mean like that whole
Diddy.
Yeah,
I don't really consider Diddy a rapper.
Right? Exactly. I mean, I get that, but it's
Performer,
like
maybe. But
hype man.
Yeah,
I get that, but it's like, but the simple fact that he had a whole album could just consisted of Bad Boy in and of itself, he was pretty terrible. And hearing all his verses, especially on his best verse for me was probably on Mo Money Mo Problems with Mace.
Yeah, see, I don't even pay attention that close to have a favorite Diddy verse.
Yeah,
that's like asking me my favorite Nick Cannon verse. I don't know.
That's another thing. We need to talk about our worst rappers of all time. But anyway, that's a video for later. But
yeah, no, that's an example like with Bad Boy for back then it was kind of like they themselves was a movement adjacent to like Rockefeller and
or
all
Death Row
that was going on. And that brings me to another thing. I think back then when it came to like being a superstar in rap, and that's something that I feel like we need to have a deeper conversation on. Mm-hmm. I feel like when you first came out, you kind of had to have like a movement behind you, and you had to have a cosign. Because when Bad Boy first came out, it was Biggie, Diddy, it was Mace, and all of them guys, and they were kind of like a movement, like a unit.
Craig Mack,
and it was one of those things.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Rest in peace.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, it was kind of one of them things where. You kind of had to go through the gauntlet and kind of had to go through the rising up the ranks. Like you got put on by somebody who already was kind of proven in the industry. Like for example, Dre, he put on Snoop, and then conversely, eventually put M on and things like that. I feel like back then you really had to like get sort of like a cosign like through the industry to kind of become a star.
But you know why a lot of that is probably. That was before it got like all corporate.
Yeah.
So when it was still relatively in the street, I guess.
Oh no, this was definitely when it was halfway in the street, halfway in the music execs' hands, I guess.
It got corporate, and then we're like, oh, we can do this formula and we can make money.
Yeah, basically.
So they just stopped going through all the all the paces or whatever, and they were just like, we're gonna do this.
Yeah,
right.
It's gonna work.
Oh yeah, and it did for a very long time. It did for a very, very long time. But like. If you got that cosign, say from like a Jay-Z, you were supposed to make it. Like if you had a rock chain on your neck in the late 90s, the early 2000s, you were supposed to be the next one up.
Well, you see what happened with Beanie Siegel and Dame Dash and all them. So,
I mean, Dame was never really a rapper for real, though. Dame was just like an exec.
Okay, well, who else was on Rock Nation?
It was Just Blaze, Beanie Siegel. Who else was a Rock Nation artist at the time? Rockefeller.
Nigga, I don't even listen to Jay-Z. I mean, who was on Rock Nation? I don't know.
But you kind of see what happened with them and everything. How they all
then you
fell
got
out.
Kanye though.
True, but a lot of people fell out with Kanye too.
You said what?
You would.
I mean, yeah.
Like a lot of people fell out with Kanye too. Like I'll put it like this: a lot of his artists are more successful than Beanie Siegel or on Death Row side, like
a lot of his artists are more iconic too.
Yeah, exactly like Pusha T, Kid Cudi. Unfortunately, Chance the Rapper kind of fizzled out.
Nah, but Chance was
Big Sean, yeah.
Artist though, like he was a co-signed artist. He was never officially signed to Good.
Oh, I thought he was more okay. Well,
he was affiliated, but he never fully like signed to Good Music.
What Travis?
He should have.
He should have.
Because
no, I was about to say I'm kind of glad he didn't, but then. Yeah.
He's non-existent.
Yeah, the big day came up.
He hasn't really had good music since no pun intended. Since like what 2017, whenever
2016.
What the color, the coloring book? Yeah,
coloring book. Years ago, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, 20. Didn't that come out in 16?
Yeah.
Okay,
because I remember listening to that when we were still at Faith or whatever.
Yeah,
I remember riding to that.
Exactly. Same. I still listen to it to this day. I only listen to Juice Acid Rap and Coloring Book. So
Yeah.
Acid Rap was straight. I mess with Acid Rap.
I
And
love
just
Acid
after
Rap.
that, the energy just
It was different.
You know,
It got
the momentum was going.
yeah. The only song that was very very reminiscent of Acid Rap was what's it called? No Problem with Wayne and 2 Chainz.
I mean, even that was more gospel influence and kind of more like in that vein.
No Problem.
Yeah.
No problem. If one
But
more
if you-
label
Are you
try
saying
to
that
production in the
just
sample.
because it's the choir? Are you saying that?
Essentially, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That whole process.
That's all he's saying.
Okay, I was about to say because
he
if one more label try to stop me, they're gonna be some dreadhead niggas in your lobby. I don't.
While on the song with 2 dreadhead niggas, that's
It's wild, bro. But
yeah, I can see that.
But
I can see why you said
In
but
terms of the production, yeah, because that whole
I feel
project
you.
was more in the vein of sort of like a more gospel, sort of like religious sort of undertone
Right,
sort
right.
of album.
No,
Or mixtape.
I get that. But back to what you were saying about Kanye being good music and everything. I do agree with that. He's probably had the most successful turnout as far as that's concerned compared to Rock Nation and Death Row and Bad Boy and all of them. So I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, because like I said, I think back then it was one of them things where it's like you had to really go and meet somebody and they had to put you on and really kind of anoint you as the next one up. You know,
Right,
back
yeah.
in the day when it came to hip hop, they kind of had to come together and kind of promote you, play your music on the radio, and kind of put you in front of the masses and say, this is the next star. Whereas I think nowadays, you know, with the internet and things like that,
They
you
don't
can
need
kind
labels.
you can kind of circumvent that process.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could basically become a superstar overnight.
Literally, just by having some bull crap on your face, really, and just saying a bunch of BS.
I mean, I feel like we're kind of starting to get away from that
No,
era.
I-
Like the
I-
SoundCloud era, I think we're definitely, that's more than likely kind of past. Because
I wouldn't say so.
That's not really a thing like that no more.
that was some old nigga shit you just said, and I'm not gonna hold you.
So you see what I'm saying?
I see what both of y'all are saying.
an
But I
old
don't necessarily think it's necessarily like that anymore.
More or less.
That you need to be as
Colorful,
gimmicky. Yeah, I
Okay,
mean they're still
okay,
terrible,
yeah.
but you don't
Okay.
have to be as gimmicky with it.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, yeah.
I mean, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I can't, you know what I'm saying?
No. I see what you mean. I just it's just from the things that I've seen, and then all like music, like Apple Pay type shit. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just then you got more Glorrillas and Sexy Reds out there. I love Glorilla too, but I'm just saying you talking about I don't know. I think it's just all the same to me, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, but I really do feel like.
Dang, I feel like an old head though, bro.
I told you.
You sound old for real.
Like shit, I'm just calling it like I see it, bro.
Jay
Like,
has aged 20 years sitting in this chair.
Literally.
whatever, bro.
You're showing your age.
Whatever,
But
bro.
anyways, yeah, back to the 90s in terms of like another thing I think that made it different back then is that it was less, you know, in terms of what an MC sounded like or looked like, there was way less acceptance. Like in the sense that you had to come from a certain background or you had to have certain credentials in order to be seen as a valid. This was back in the era where street credibility really, really mattered. Like if you didn't come from the hood or you didn't come from, you know, selling drugs or whatever, people would kind of look at you and be like, "Oh, this guy ain't really about it." For real.
Which is kind of ironic with that point is because is the simple fact that you had like rappers like in NWA that really weren't about that street life. I don't think,
but they had to sell that in.
I mean,
but they had to
other
sell
than,
that. Yeah, exactly.
other than Easy though.
Yeah, about to say.
Easy
was
was
in the street for
was the
real.
only actually real gangster in there.
Yeah, but the thing is, but the ironic part about that though, you got people like Kid and Play, like especially Play, who was really that street nigga, like, you know, full blown, full bred and everything. Same thing with like MC Hammer. Like MC Hammer was really out there like that.
But when
Granted, that's more 80s and early 90s. So
but let me ask you: are those guys seen as credible, or are they as respected as somebody like a Nas or a Jay-Z?
No.
But that's why I'm saying that's the irony of the situation though. Because a lot of these guys have to sell that image that they're from the streets. Truth be told, I don't even think Pac was even much of in the streets like that as much as he would like to say.
Later on, I think so.
Yeah, maybe later on.
But would you say that was more Death Row like Suge influence?
I
Or-
think,
no,
To
exactly.
be fair, I could say that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like,
Because Pac, when he was first coming up, Pac was more like, that theater kid, sort of like artsy sort of individual.
right.
But by the time you get to like a Me Against the World or All Eyes on Me, that's when he really like embraced that street aesthetic for real.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. I'm just saying, like, I don't really got else to say about that. I'm just.
But yeah, no, as far as like that whole street persona, and back then rappers kind of had to be one way, in my opinion. You couldn't really become a superstar for real, unless you was actually about that. Like, cause you look at the late '90s and the early 2000s, most of the guys that were running the game for real, a Jay. Who else would you say was a superstar back then?
Nelly.
Nelly? Was Nelly from the street?
Huh?
Was Nelly from the street?
I'm pretty sure, as far as I know.
Well, there you go. That's a perfect example. So
Wayne.
Wayne for sure. But
Are we talking like strictly 90s, or are we talking about?
I'm talking about like the 90s bleeding over into the early 2000s in terms of like that rapper that kind of was like, seen as this is what you're supposed to be as a rapper. Basically the mainstream type of rapper.
You could put Biggie in there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. Biggie. Pac, even though that's kind of half and half.
Jay.
Outkast was an outlier to me.
Yeah, Outkast definitely was, because, well, you could say that about...
They were from the street, though.
Yeah, but you could say that about Andre, though, because around the early 2000s, around ATLians, Andre was really making his way into being more spiritual and kind of what you see today, more of this conscious rap and everything, while Big Boy was more like, was still more in the streets and rapped about pimp shit and everything like that. So, yeah, which was a cool dynamic in my opinion, because ATLians is easily my favorite Outkast album. But yeah,
I would say, I think they were both kind of like a bridge from street shit into like more conscious or more rapping about other topics.
Right, yeah.
Because it wasn't like on no like Kid and Play type stuff.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely not.
But they gave you enough that it was like, okay, there's this, then you can cross over into
right,
somebody else rapping about some more conscious stuff, like a Kanye or somebody who's not necessarily rapping about the streets.
Yeah, which makes sense as to why I think they were some of the first like hip hop artists to really get major in just like in front of the world, because I think that they just kind of had more of that diverse appeal.
Yeah.
Because they kind of they had that street sort of feel to them in a sense, but they were able to, kind of parlay that into talking about more conscious stuff that everybody kind of go through, which is why by the time you see Stankonia, you see stuff like So Fresh, So Clean, Miss Jackson, these massive crossover hits, and then that was furthered in the Speaker Box Love Below. And I think that those guys were some of the first that kind of broke that mold for what a rapper could be in terms of like mainstream acceptance. But I think the guy that really changed that, and you know who I'm gonna say. Am I wrong though? Tell me, am I wrong?
Go ahead, Nick.
The one and only Kanye West. Now, if you look at what rap was before, in terms of like how it was perceived for you to be a rapper versus after, I feel like Kanye definitely opened the door for more acceptance in terms of like how you could dress, what you could talk about, the production, all that. I feel like there's definitely a before and after when it comes to him.
No, 100%. That's why I'm a big fan. Well, not a big fan, but I'm a fan of Kanye West too in that regard. Because because you're right, he did open the door just for a different aesthetic to work. I didn't even know for the longest that he was an anime fan. Like,
exactly.
Because when I watched the Stronger music video, I didn't know those were references to what's it called, Akira.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool too. Like, really around the college dropout era, really the whole college dropout graduation era, the whole, I guess, college era, you could say, is when I really like what's the word? Related to Kanye the most. Well, especially with Spaceship on College Dropout, because boy, working them grave ships, not making shit. I wish I could buy me a space. I was feeling right that back about 2 years ago, bro. But that's a story for another day.
Most definitely. But yeah, I feel like when it comes to him, it's just like the aesthetic, just even like the backpacks and the pink poles and stuff like that. there was nobody that was really like him at the time, and he kind of broke down that barrier. Because before, one of the main reasons he couldn't get on initially was because they felt like he wasn't really right to be a rapper.
Right.
Because he wasn't from the hood, he wasn't really from the street, he was just a regular guy.
Yeah, more or less.
And he kind of made it more okay to be just a regular person from the suburbs rapping. What's your perspective on that? Because I know you got something to say.
I'm just so sick of hearing you talk about this. I really am. But that's not to discredit any of Kanye's contributions up until about, like 2016. That was the last Kanye album whenever Life Pablo came out. Yeah, that was the last album for real. For me.
Low key.
But, you know.
So we're going to take Kids See Ghosts out of this conversation?
More or less.
And yay?
Yes.
I don't really count Kids See Ghosts as like a Kanye album. I don't. For me, that whole run when he was doing them 7-song albums, that whole run is by itself to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
To me, so when I look at his catalog, I look at his catalog.
Okay.
Right. Same thing with Watch the Throne. That's why I kind of skip over a lot of it too.
That
as far as his catalog is concerned, you know,
he just
solo.
He just, you know. Kanye just needs some media training, you know. He just
I'll
stay out the way.
I do want to ask y'all this. In the 90s, though, controversial opinion coming up. Who do y'all think is the best, the worst, and the most overrated and underrated? I'll go first. Best, I think, is Nas. Worst is Silk the Shocker.
See, my thing, though, for me personally, I only know what I really care for from the 90s. Like, I ain't never really invest in the whole generation, the whole era like that. Like, you know I love Nas, I love Jay-Z, I love, Outkast, but I don't really spend much time digging into Silk the Shocker or somebody like that, or somebody that was just kind of this random artist on Death Row Records.
The only reason why I know Silk the Shocker is because of Hot Boys, bro. Like, pause. But because of the movie that Master P made, damn it. So don't come in the comments like, ooh, hey, yo, Jay, man. I don't want to hear none of that. But that's the only reason why I know who that is. And I'm like, I'll look up his music. Yeah, I'm, as much as y'all old heads, and I guess I'm one of them according to y'all, like to pray. Like, shut up. Shut up, damn it. So anyway.
Over here swinging a cane and shit.
Whatever. Now swing this, nigga.
Old man Jenkins.
It's fine. But as much as y'all like to praise the 90s, y'all gotta admit, y'all don't talk about this nigga too much for a reason. So
because I think now the 90s have been done for so long, it's kind of one of those things where they kind of tend to rewrite history as there was only fire music coming from the 90s. Like,
right.
I mean, every
whole generation's accountable then, and that's the case.
Every generation got bad artists, though.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Statistically, you're gonna have bad artists.
100%. It's not gonna be just like a golden era where it was nothing but fire. No. And there was not one weak album.
Now I'll say this purely from a rap perspective, the most overrated to me.
You're gonna say Pac.
You had to spoil it, bro. I couldn't.
I mean, I just knew.
I think from like his music is good, don't get me wrong, but from like a pure rap lyricism perspective, I do think Pac is the most overrated, at least in the term of how people like to glaze him. Like this dude musically could do no wrong and stuff. Like there's some tracks in there that I didn't really care for, and there's tracks that he has that I love, but the way people say like, oh, he could rap circles around this, that, and the third is not true at all. Like, there's rappers today that aren't as well known as Pac is, like Denzel Curry and J.I.D. And I think I might have said this on another video. So if that's the case, then I won't be too long on this. But that can definitely even shoot rappers. This real underrated rapper who made that whole rap alphabet thing that you showed me that one time. Gift of Gab.
No, that wasn't Gift of Gab. It was
but it was him, the same guy though.
Yeah, was it?
Black?
Was it Black Alicious?
Black. It was Black Alicious.
It might have been.
But the guy's name is Gift of Gab.
You said what?
That's a man.
I think it's like a collective, like a group.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But no, like even he could probably rap circles.
Sounds crazy to say out loud, but shit. Go ahead.
Oh.
I'm just saying that's a nigga.
Nah, it
named
do,
Black
but
Alleged.
but like with Gift the Gab being super underrated, like I think he even could out rap Tupac in like a lot of ways, and that's what I mean by he's overrated in that regard, not like overrated in general.
You go ahead.
I think people look at Pac the way Rodney looks at Kanye. And let me hold on.
Go ahead. I want to hear this.
I want to hear this.
Because people look at Pac like as a whole entity.
Right.
And then they judge the whole instead of zeroing in on that area. The same way Rodney looks at Kanye from a whole artistic perspective instead of zeroing in on what is he actually
specific aspects of him as an artist. And he's not wrong, to be real with you.
Right.
We've had this debate many times. What is it about Kanye that makes him the GOAT? Well, his overall body of work and his overall art.
Sick of hearing that shit.
I've been saying that shit for years.
Because the thing is, like, even nobody wants to admit it, but if you say, when I say Kendrick Lamar can rap better than Tupac, I'll get
obvious. I don't think that's debatable at this point.
Right,
but you watch niggas debate
exactly. But you be surprised. Because people will jump on your back the whole time to say Tupac is the best rapper of all time. He can rap circles around. I'm like, not really.
Tupac wasn't even out rapping Biggie.
Not exactly, and that's another reason why I say Biggie's out of the two. If Biggie would have responded to hit him up, Biggie would have slaughtered this man
easily,
and it wouldn't have been a fight.
And I'm more of a Tupac fan, but I just know for a fact Biggie's a way better rapper than Pac was. I don't think, in controversial opinion. Very, very controversial. In terms of lyricism, I don't think Pac was really top 5, even in the 90s, in my opinion.
Exactly. I agree.
Personally.
I agree.
You say Andre 3000, Nas, Biggie,
Jay.
I wouldn't say M because M was the late 90s going into 2000, so I wouldn't even include him.
I was about to say, if you say don't say M, I'm going to be mad. But because you gave that reason, I understand.
Would you put somebody like a Q-Tip or somebody like that?
Yes.
In that
Q-Tip, Fife Dog, yes.
Yeah.
I'll put RZA, Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard in that conversation too. I put Raekwon.
You gotta put Method in there.
Method Man, yeah. I was Method Man, Ghostface. Really, the whole Wu-Tang. The whole Wu-Tang Clan. Inspector Deck, another underrated rapper.
Where you put
Big Pun?
Big Pun, yeah.
Where you putting
Dead in the middle of Little did we know the middleman who didn't do diddly? I was like,
I wasn't sure he's gonna hit it.
I was just like this. Oh, I heard that Big Pun is the GOAT, bro.
Did y'all put DMX in a category above Pac as a lyricist, or you think X was more of an overall artist type?
Overall artist. I say overall artist.
That's a good question.
Shit. Hey, we'll save it for another conversation. Rakim? Because Rakim was still...
You gotta put Rakim in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for
sure.
Even
Black Thought?
Yeah.
Black Thought, MF Doom.
I was about to say Doom.
Like
a lot of people have Doom in their top 5 lyricists of all time.
Your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
Exactly. So it's like...
And that brings me another point, but I'll let you go ahead and finish.
No, okay. But in closing, for this segment, or for my fuck it. But in closing... that's just my 2 cents. Like I said, I'm not trying to crap on his legacy or nothing like that.
For sure,
trying not to say be any disrespect, but as much of an old headed young person as I am, y'all gotta be honest with yourselves too and stop trying to glorify something that really ain't that good.
Did you just say old headed young person?
A whole headed young person.
Okay.
I'm an old young nigga basically.
Pretty much. I've been hearing that all my life. I don't care.
But yeah, that brings me to another point. Lyricism was better, and this may be a quote unquote old head take. Lyricism was definitely better across the board in the 90s.
Yeah, no,
There's
definitely.
No debating.
It had to be.
There's no debating that.
Oh yeah, there's no debating it
because
whatsoever.
in order to really make it to the top, lyrically, you had to be like. It's a different era now, where it's like the artistry conversation is more valid now. But in the 90s, if you were you had great production, but you weren't necessarily the best lyricist, people weren't gonna respect you as much.
Right, but really, as time went on, lyricism really has started to I wouldn't say go down the drain, but like put on the back burner.
It hasn't been as focused on as other aspects of the genre.
Right, it's like because people prefer more melodic stuff anyway.
Because they just want to dance.
Exactly.
But back then, if you wanted to be considered top 5. You kind of had to...
Old head.
You kind of had to be, at the top of the genre. You had to be nice. Like, you had to be, like, one of, if not the best, at least the best lyricist, arguably out of your region.
True. If that's the case, do you think rappers like JID and Denzel Curry and all of them, or could hang with the rappers back in the day?
Easily, Jig could for sure.
Like would they, like if they were put in that era, you
Yes.
think they would be as successful as Nas and them?
Yeah.
Because you can listen. They did a lot of stuff on
Especially
like
Kendrick,
older
but,
production with what that shit called? Revenge of the Dreamers 3. When they was all on
I've
there.
been listening to that a lot lately, actually. Funny enough.
Yeah, I still gotta listen to. I'm still listening to a bunch of this stuff. Okay, so no, I agree too.
So yeah, lyricism definitely has fallen to the wayside more so in this modern era. But I feel like that's still, when it comes down to it, the most respected guys in the genre from a cultural standpoint are still the most talented in that regard.
Exactly.
When you look at Kendrick and Cole, for example, you know, two of the big three for the last decade plus, some of the most respected artists in the genre, they're still like the best lyricists of their generation. So
Most def.
I think that the lyrical conversation,
Shout out to Mos Def.
Yeah, another one.
for sure, there's not as much of an emphasis on lyricism genre wide, but the most respected guys are still the best lyricists. I think so,
by far.
personally.
Yeah, no, by
Definitely.
far.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that concludes the 90s sort of segment, you know. So now onto the modern era. What do y'all think is the best and worst aspects of modern hip hop? And go.
The best aspects of modern hip hop. More creativity. With the sound itself, like with Travis, with T-Pain, with who else? Who else am I missing? With Trippie Redd and
You mess with Doechii?
I want to listen to her album. I just haven't got around to doing it.
Even
But I
if
like
you-
her song "Crazy" though.
You can go into do the Tiny Desk if you don't want to listen to the whole album.
But I'm gonna do it anyway. But
I mean,
but even with Tyler the Creator and everything,
For sure.
so the creativity is easily the best part of it. With Don Toliver too, even though I wouldn't really consider him much of a rapper, considering
More of a singer,
He
he's
be
more of a
singing,
singer, but
yeah.
people would consider him Rod Wave and to be rappers anyway. But the creativity most definitely is
that's
the
because
best
we don't
part.
get no subcategories. That's all it is. There are no hip hop subcategories.
There, nah.
It's either hey, you're a rapper, or you're black. Yeah, you're a rapper.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure.
I'm surprised Jabouzi didn't become a rapper.
Oh wait,
Or they
till-
didn't categorize him as a rapper.
So does that bring us back to like something we discussed earlier, like the whole homogenization of like the genre, where it's like there's not really a whole lot of subcategories that really get a light shine on them or shown?
I would, from the surface, maybe.
But when you get down to like the really like the middle or like the bottom of the genre, you see more of that like sort of that branching off in differences in styles and subgenres and things like that.
I mean, because they're there, but it's like that's just what they're calling it. Like that's how they're classifying it. But,
Right.
like the different branches and styles are there.
Yeah, for
As
sure.
as opposed to when it's like, hey, we're gonna give you 4 guys that sound exactly the same,
basically.
and you're gonna listen to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's different. It's one's on the surface, and then one's what's actually happening.
Yeah, I can agree with that because I think the thing about right now is that, especially with the trap sound having really took over in the mid 2010s, that's when you start to see everybody start to sound more and more like Future
The
and
Migos,
and then that's how you eventually get to somebody like a Lil Baby, which you already know how I feel about.
And
Baby.
Gunna.
He's my favorite artist. Gunna, Nav, because really
I
like
forgot about Nav.
in the mid 2010s, because when y'all really think about it,
What happened to Nav,
mid
man?
2010s,
I don't know.
in the early 2020s, how many trap albums came out where it was the same lineup of features to where you could
True.
predict, like literally a Nav album in 2020, you could literally predict the features. Travis Scott, Gunna, Uzi, Future, Thug. It was like the same 5 to 10 niggas. And it kind of diluted the overall creativity in the mainstream, in my opinion.
Watch this. But you listen to them, no, ain't it?
Exactly.
Right there, as soon as it came, let me go ahead and add that to the playlist.
So when we get into the worst aspects, I'm gonna let DJ go first, mainly just because y'all already know what I'm about to say. But
The worst aspects of today. For me,
For you personally.
yeah, pause. Double pause.
triple pause, but no.
I
Diddy.
would. not to be a broken record or whatever, but I would really say it's just too easy to get on. So everybody's kind of, they get on, they have one song, and then they're gone. Even if you might be excited about an artist, you're like, oh, this is cool. 3 years goes by, nothing, they're gone. Yeah. And then you find out, they didn't actually care about what they were doing. They were just kind of trying to,
hi, Blueface,
get some money or whatever. Ain't that nigga in jail?
Oh, he ain't gonna see this. It's fine.
I mean, he's in jail, hey. But
yeah.
No, you ain't wrong. Like, Rodney, you go next, man. I'll say y'all go last.
Yeah. Me personally, I do agree with that. I feel like one of the worst aspects, if not the worst aspect, is that now I feel like a lot of the same passion that you had to have to get to the top of the genre isn't what it used to be. Now it's more like virality and TikTok hits and things like that, as opposed to, I feel like this switch really happened after the pandemic. I feel like once COVID happened, that's when you see more TikTok having more of an influence in what's popping than, in my opinion, it should have ever had. Because even like SoundCloud, whether you like what they were doing or not, you gotta admit those guys had passion. Those guys had creativity. Yeah. You look at the Juice WRLD, the Trippie Redd, the X, Ski, all them guys, even if you didn't necessarily like what they were doing, you could see that they still had passion for the music and the creativity behind it.
Oh yeah, most def, man.
Even like, Young Thug, which I mean, we know a lot of people feel like Thug played a massive influence in, sounds and styles today, which he did.
Right.
Thug, they didn't like what he was doing. They didn't like how he sounded when he came out, but the passion and the creativity has always shown through in Thug's music. Even
right, 100%. And the worst part about it is, like, I agree with all of y'all. Is pretty much the opposite of what I said. The lack of creativity, because everything is so easy to obtain now. Nobody sees, like, not to be an old head again. Not like young people don't want to work hard, but that's kind of somewhat what it is in this case. Just the lack of creativity, the fact that everything is so easily obtainable, I guess. But like as far as stardom is concerned,
but I think that really got started past like 2020.
I agree.
The guys that were first coming up in the internet for real, like Uzi and all them guys, they still had creativity.
Well, what about what about the 2000s though?
The 2000s,
the best and worst aspects of it.
I feel like in the 2000s, most of like the best and worst aspects of the 90s was still present, at least the first half. Because I feel like in the 2000s, you still had to get co-signed. You still had to kind of go through hurdles. They had to play your music. The culture as a whole had to be feeling you in order for you to get on. That's why you see like a 50 Cent. He got on through a M co-sign, and M got on through a Dre co-sign. So they kind of was a branching tree. And then even like Kanye was kind of like carrying the Rockefeller sort of like.
Go ahead. Hey, go ahead.
Kanye with the Rockefeller.
It's a free world.
Wayne, would y'all say Wayne was one of the first rappers that didn't necessarily need to get co-signed by somebody else?
I wouldn't say it. Yeah.
Because Cash Money came out, and Wayne kind of was the main person that was the flagship artist.
So Birdman didn't put Lil Wayne on?
Birdman played a big hand, obviously, in managing and cultivating his career, but Wayne himself didn't really need a co-sign from like somebody who had already been in the game for a minute, who had already been a legend. Wayne just kind of came out, and Wayne just
on his own.
He pretty much just took everything over.
Okay, I get you. I get that. I say, I agree with everything you just said. It's cool.
Yeah, I think nowadays it's just more about kind of going viral off of a TikTok hit and things like that than it is about the actual substance and the creativity of the music. Which I think that everything is cyclical. I think that we're gonna get back to seeing more of
a lot of SAT words over there, young man. Go ahead.
Let me cook.
Yeah, go ahead.
Miss Van Horn, she taught me something, English, whatnot.
You using it.
But yeah, no, definitely. I feel like, it's a cycle. I think that eventually we're gonna get back to seeing artists that are the most creative, most innovative, kind of be the most respected. Mm-hmm. But I think for right now, we're kind of in a space where everything's kind of just.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of dead in the water.
I think it's a matter of just where the spotlight is, because I wouldn't say Because you kind of said earlier, the way you kind of said it was like there was no creativity. Not to say that that's what you meant, but the way you said it. But I wouldn't necessarily say it like that because I think it's there. It's just it's not being pushed.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's what I
Yeah.
really meant. Like, there's creativity.
It's not visible at the top. That's what it is.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. But now that we got the creativity and artistry is concerned, I think an overrated artist from this really.
You sound like you about to say something fucked up.
You see, because he had to preface it with a sigh and everything.
Like,
he said,
I can see them thoughts. I can see it.
Overrated artist from this generation. I don't know if you would consider this person.
Playboy Cardi.
Damn, he knew. Yeah, yeah.
This nigga ain't letting you have nothing.
Like I can't have
momentum, your suspense, all of that.
Yeah, Playboy Cardi is I don't get it. I really don't. Die Lit was cool.
Why?
But you this man Rodney talking about, oh, you need to download, you need to listen to a whole lot of Red. You'll like that.
Never
this,
did.
that, and the third. I listened to it. I'm literally looking at him like,
Looking me sideways, isn't it?
hey, you like it, right, nigga? All it's innovative. I don't get it. I really don't.
I want to not to cut you off. I want to hear your perspective
On Playboy Cardi.
I want to hear your perspective on this conversation in regards to him being overrated.
I mean, hell yeah, I think he's overrated. I don't really see, I don't get it. And he dropped like one album.
What do you mean? Like one album that kind of pushed him into like.
No, nigga, I mean one, as in the number after zero. Like how many albums did he drop?
He got self-titled. That's his mixtape, and then you got 2 albums in Die Lit and Whole Lot of Red.
So he got all of that, and I ain't really hear nothing about him for real, except from you.
I mean, the thing
It's
is
not a good look.
And I think that this is a point that I also wanted to bring up. I think hip hop now is kind of more divided into certain like lanes and things because of the internet. I feel like now when it comes to back then, before, like I said, hip hop had to come together to unanimously unite and say this is the next star. But with the internet, you kind of exist in your own different pocket, in your own different lane. So that's probably why you don't really be hearing Cardi like that. Because that's not really in your lane like that for real.
But you want me to?
Go
Okay,
ahead.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Counter argument: he should be good enough to transcend every lane. He should just be good.
So do you think Lil Baby was good enough to transcend every lane the way he was getting pushed in 2020 and 21?
Maybe at certain points.
So you think Lil Baby was good enough to merit being the next superstar in hip hop?
I don't know about all that, but there were definitely moments where I was like, okay, I kind of see why I'm seeing this. I'm interacting with this.
Okay.
Before this nigga
Cardi?
disappeared back into the night. I never listened to Cardi like that. I never would you just name like 4 or 5 projects he had?
3.
Ain't here not name one of them.
And not nothing. So you feel like it should be good enough to where the music should just find you, and you shouldn't have to seek it out.
To an extent.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
It's not that easy
Like
nowadays.
a Travis Scott.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not that easy nowadays, but it should have a way of circulating.
I see what you mean.
At the same time.
I definitely see what you mean. And I think that, again, going back to that superstardom and rap conversation that I really want to have with y'all, I think that that's a point right there where it's like, being a superstar isn't as easy anymore because, like I said, everybody kind of exists in their own space, in their own lane. So it's a lot harder for everybody to be like, oh yeah, this is that guy. Because you got people that think, for example, like Rod Wave is the next superstar.
When you say everybody in their own lane, do you mean the rapper or the consumer?
What do you mean?
I mean, do you mean the rapper or the consumer?
So you're saying that...
Are you saying every rapper exists in their own lane, or are you saying every consumer exists in their own lane?
Every consumer exists in
Okay,
their own
because
lane.
if you were talking about rappers, that's hilariously untrue. Just
No, every consumer exists in their own lane.
Yeah,
So
okay.
the consumer now, when it comes to Spotify, Apple Music, can go on either one, and they can seek out what type of music they want to hear. Because now we don't have to like just wait for that song to come on. Because you remember like when we were kids growing up, and you would hear a song on the radio, and you would hope you would hear it eventually. You would hope it would come back on. You know, you didn't really have control over what you were hearing. The radio pretty much dominated that. You know, one of those, like for example, you know, in the Breakfast Club and stuff like that, those guys kind of really determined who was going to be next up. Like, when 50 was coming up in the 2000s, one of the big reasons why 50 ended up being what he was because, you know, he had New York. New York was, you know, kind of backing him and pushing him. And then, you know, he got New York and then he took it major. Whereas now you don't really have to do that like before. You could just kind of go and listen to whatever you want whenever you want. So everybody is more connected in terms of options, but in terms of like what's actually your preference, you can just seek it out now. You don't have to really worry about, oh yeah, I gotta listen to this artist because they're pushing it in front of me all the time. You don't really have to do that. Mm-hmm. Like for example, Rod Wave, you know, because we went to the Rod Wave concert, me and Ben. You know, all of them people probably look at Rod and think that he's like the next superstar coming up. A lot of those people, you can't even tell them Rod Wave isn't even bigger than Lil Baby at this point.
Same thing with you and Playboy Cardi.
No, but I don't know, Cardi. Okay, no.
As soon as the nigga starts stuttering, nah.
But yeah, no, but y'all see what I'm saying, though. Y'all get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
more or
Rod
less.
Wave, there's a lot of people that you can't tell Rod Wave ain't even close to a superstar in music.
I don't think I think we throw that term around very loosely.
Okay.
Yeah.
The term superstar. So anytime somebody's like, they're on and whatever, like, oh, they're a superstar. And it's like, because they had one good album?
Yeah, that's
Or
what
two
I'm
good
Right,
albums.
right,
I mean,
right.
I agree with that.
They did the same thing with Roddy Ricch, and that's what look what happened to him. You know.
That's a potential
Gone.
superstar.
Yeah.
Polo G, they said the same thing about him.
Forgot about that nigga too.
That's what I'm saying. You know, he had an album this past fall. Right? It's like, he did? Exactly. Shit, even I ain't listened to an album like that. I'm a fan.
You be listening to everything.
Yeah, I can't keep up with this man's catalog.
Shit, not for sure. But yeah, no, for me personally, like, and that brings me to another point, like going off of what I was saying, like, you look at my playlist, you know, you got Jid, you got Cardi, you got Kendrick, you got Travis. So, you know, that's my personal preference. And
right.
So it's like, you're not going to see somebody necessarily be like, oh, I'm going to listen to this artist just because that's the most pushed. Shit, how many people do you know in real life that's a Jid fan other than us three?
Yeah, that's true.
That's very true.
And the people that we saw at we can't even say that because most of the people that showed up for that concert last year was
Savage fans.
Exactly. Yeah. But like you'd be surprised by my playlist though. Like you'd be surprised because I'm a huge rap fan, but I'm also like a huge soulful singing fan.
Exactly.
Something that ain't even soulful. Y'all be surprised, and I know y'all joking about me being an old head, more or less joking. But I listen to people like Frank Sinatra, bro. I listen to 1950s doo-wop.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Like you be
Barbershop Quartet.
Hey, exactly. I listen. Shit, what? Why do you think I get so many haircuts now? But no, I'm just being real. Like he gets so Rod does have a point. It's just you do have a point.
Yeah, so everything is just tailored to like whatever you want. Like when you go on Instagram, like it's going to like the algorithm is tailored to you. So that's why you're gonna see certain artists and certain songs and things pushed more than others. Mm-hmm. That's just how it is now. So it's harder to really determine who the next big star is for real.
I gotta look at different stuff then if that's the case. But excuse me.
But yeah,
okay. But I think speaking of stuff being tailored to you, I think that's probably why labels rely more on like stuff going viral and that type of stuff.
For sure, definitely.
Because people you don't need them anymore.
Yeah,
so they're kind of trying to cling to, okay, whatever we can do to kind of stay active or stay a part of this.
Exactly. And that's why you see somebody like an Ice Spice didn't work past a certain point because she went viral.
We know why that girl was famous, man.
Man, what? But anyways, past that. But that's a good example.
No, she was a great rapper though.
But like that's what I'm saying. That's why Ice Spice past a certain point ain't work because they were relying more on her virality than her actual skill or respect within the actual game.
She has skill.
She has skill, just not in
Yeah, no, like the lyricism, the melody, it was great, bro.
For sure. That album, and it went
good.
double tinfoil this past summer.
Hey, speaking of albums going up, I think Kendrick did win platinum recently, ain't it?
Oh yeah, for sure he did.
Right.
And again, that brings me back to when it comes down to it, there's not a whole lot of real rap superstars like that other than like a Kendrick Lamar. And when did Kendrick first come out and really make his way in the game? 10, 12 years ago.
You could say controversially now Drake, but his superstar. Hush.
Go ahead.
Nah,
hey,
his
don't
I'm
hush me.
But nah, his superstardom done went down in flames though. That's is what I'm trying to say.
He's still in name and just overall worldwide one of the biggest artists in the world. I mean you're right. I'm just saying. Status and his respect. But
that's what I mean by his super.
100%.
That's what I mean by his superstardom because like after this whole thing with Kendrick, him losing to the beef alone, I don't even think really even did him in that much.
It was the beginning of the end.
But it was the beginning of the end, exactly. It's the fact that he decided to sue a bunch of YouTubers who just react to it like
as if they didn't react
like
to his songs.
Zias and Belu.
Belu, and then No Life Shack, and then who else?
Kai
and that, yeah, exactly. So
I think Aiden Ross is in there too. Who cares about him?
Yeah, right, yeah, he fell off a long time ago.
Okay, now go.
Oh, I'm sorry, man, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like his superstardom is starting to wane a little bit as far as his respect and his credibility is concerned. Because it's like, bro, you could have just taken your L like a man.
For sure, he could have.
Go ahead.
No, but because you were talking about cosigns earlier, and I feel like Drake is probably one of the only cases where we can say that a cosign was not positive. It wasn't because he got cosigned by Wayne. He was doing all that stuff with Nicki, and it got him further into the culture, but it was still kind of like, you're still kind of putting on a character, like you're not really
respected for what.
Right, exactly.
Because FD Signify brought up a good point in his video where he
Shout
recapped the beef. When it came to Drake, he made so much good music that he kind of was able to push past the pushback he was getting.
Right.
Because core hip hop fans never truly accepted Drake.
correct.
But what he did was that he went over into other regions, like the casual hip hop listener or just somebody who just is a radio, an NPC basically, and he captured them people.
Right.
And so basically he didn't need the culture anymore to be a superstar. Drake is like the first artist, in my opinion, that truly did that.
Truth be told, I would probably compare Drake to, even though he's one of my favorite receivers of all time, to Terrell Owens in a way, despite him not being very well liked or respected, or well liked, but you still respected the fact that his production was good,
That's what I'm saying.
So like that's not saying that Terrell Owens is a legend. I'm just saying, as a comparison. Yeah. Another comparison could be Russell Wilson when he was on the Seahawks about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
because a lot of the team didn't really care much for him, but because he was doing so good at the time at quarterback, you know what I'm saying, and everybody else around him was really just kind of the
and that's what I'm saying.
Stars,
I feel like Drake kind of made it to where he was the first superstar that he was able to become a superstar without really coming through the culture first to do it, because every hip hop artist that became a superstar in music before, they had the respect of the culture first, and then they took it to a further lane, like Kanye.
They were
right.
My fault. Here we go again. My bad.
Because those are people that are in the culture.
Yeah.
Right.
Hove. Say what you will about it. I know how you feel about Jay. 50.
What I do, I'm sure.
But if you look at guys that were, have viral hits, because obviously, like being famous from online, online hit, that's not a new concept when it comes to like TikTok and stuff like that. Because in the 2000s, you see Soulja Boy.
I was about to say, yeah.
But Soulja Boy was never respected for real. He never got...
Not really.
Because since he didn't have the culture on lock, he couldn't only get but so far.
I'll say this. Another rapper like that is Lil Mama.
Who?
Exactly.
Who? I think I've heard the name, but did she come up in the same era as Nicki?
She was a little before.
New York.
She was in New York though, but she was a little bit before. Like Lil Mama was like that too. Like she, but like I said, exactly. You saying who?
So that's what I'm saying because I can't name a single Lil Mama song to be real with you.
The only reason why I can name one song by her is because T-Pain was on it, and that's it.
Okay, yeah, I got you. And would y'all say, speaking of that, with T-Pain, do you think he was a superstar in music?
Yeah. He's in
and out.
I would consider him like the modern day, maybe not modern day, but the early 2000s. Well, maybe not even that neither. But he was kind of like Nate Dogg in a sense. Like his hooks were really
like if Nate Dogg was from the South, kind of.
Exactly. So
okay.
So I think he was a superstar for his time, but I think what messed him up was the death of auto-tune and then him kind of playing himself like that. And then the fact is when Usher said that he fucked up music for real. Dang. He messed
we
up
would have had to
music
fight.
for
I ain't gonna cap with you.
Yeah. You heard that story where he called him? They were on the airplane and he called him to like the cockpit or like first class or whatever. And he was like, yeah, no, you kind of fuck music up for like real singers. And then T-Pain said he laughed, but at first, no, Usher was like dead serious. For real.
Right. And
we would have got dead serious. I'd have fucked that man up on that plane.
Because how are you going to tell me?
And you called me over there for that?
Right.
Like, you made me stop what I was doing. I'm thinking, you finna show some love or whatever. You ruined music, my dog. Like, what? This thing that I love and care about, I ruined it. I ruined it.
Fact. And he said that was the beginning of like a 5-year depression.
Yeah.
That was the start.
Somebody like Usher, that would be like if I got on or whatever, and like Beyonce came to me and was like, yeah, you kind of ruined music.
Yeah.
Or Kendrick or somebody was like, yeah, you kind of ruined rap.
And you ruined Lion King, so I don't want to hear that. You ruined acting.
But yeah.
That's what I was selling.
But but to basically say, I guess what rap is now in terms of like global exposure is definitely different now in terms of like the way things are navigated, how things are done. You don't really need that cosign like you used to. It still helps. It still helps to a degree because
but it ain't gonna keep you there.
Oh no, definitely not. You still kind of have to.
You got to have the talent to some extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't phone it in, especially now that TikTok getting banned. Can't really phone it in.
Allegedly, somebody might fuck around and buy that thing.
Oh, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, that's definitely one aspect of hip hop nowadays that can be good or bad depending on how you look at it. Because, you got guys that are talented that come from being viral off of TikTok. But I guess that's one compared to like 3 or 4 people that just kind of, they get viral lucky. And then they just kind of just,
But that's still not good for branding because don't nobody know who that person is.
Nah,
right.
Or they don't know, like, when Steve Lacy album came out, like a couple years ago or whatever, and they went to the concert and you realize nobody knows the second verse of the song.
Ooh, yeah.
Because the only thing that's viral was that first minute or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So it was like, you trying to interact with the crowd and nobody knows the song.
Yeah.
What did Steve Lacy make again?
Don't do Steve Lacy like that.
What did he make?
He did produce Pride off of a Damn, so he did that. On his iPhone, matter of fact.
But what was the song though? Is what I'm saying. I forgot.
You remember that song?
Here and there, but not like that. To be real with you,
I had to go in there and play it.
But yeah, see, and that's what I'm saying. That's a perfect example.
Bad for branding.
That's a perfect example right there because if you don't have the actual branding and you don't have the talent, it's hard for you to really transition. That's why only a few people have really been able to achieve. Because since 2018, the only artist that's become a superstar for real in hip hop is Travis.
Truth be told, yeah.
If we're being 100%,
like another example,
Baby got close.
A better
which one?
Lil Baby.
There's Lil Baby, the Baby, Baby Keem, nigga. I don't know.
Lil Baby got close. Lil Baby flew as close to the song
Where the grown ups at?
No, same thing with the Baby though.
You said we was a superstar? You said the Baby was a superstar, or do you think he got close to being a superstar?
I say he got close.
I
say he got close.
If he'd have kept going and
kept
his dumb ass mouth shut, I think he definitely could have been up there for real.
Like, cause he really wasn't a bad rapper. I remember back in the day, I used to not like the Baby, but then
he keep making the same song.
Cause he kept making the same song, exactly.
Everything, same cadence.
And I said this years ago before that. Well, months ago before that. Like, and before he, like, while everybody was in the Suge craze, and I said, like, bro, it's really not that good. He keeps making the same song, and now people want to agree with me. I'm like,
oh yeah, years later,
I might be clairvoyant.
That nigga was rapping his ass off on what was that shit? Sundown or Sun something.
I know what you're talking about. Off of Revenge of the Dreamers.
Yeah, that nigga rapping his ass off.
No, but that's why I say he's a great rapper.
He's a good rapper.
He's a good rapper.
He's a genuinely talented artist.
He's one of those people that can but doesn't.
Exactly.
And I think he knew how to kind of make his brand specifically. He knew that if he tried to do something different too early, folks would be like, this ain't
but wins too early, nigga.
As far as branding is concerned, do y'all know who Dax is?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That's one of them YouTube rappers that never really was respected for real.
Exactly. That's what to your point. That's what I'm saying. This to your point. For as far as branding is concerned, like, because he started because when he did that grimy shit to another YouTube rapper that nobody really knows
who.
His name was like Crip.
I heard of him.
You said nobody knows
who. Who, nigga? Anyway, but now,
Jesus Christ.
But Dax is one of them with as far as his branding. But what messed him up is he was doing grimy stuff to that dude Crypt on YouTube. So it's like, and he's trying to be like, he would say he's the best YouTube rapper, but then he said, "Oh no, I'm not on YouTube no more." It's kind of like how Post Malone did with like hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm bigger than YouTube. I'm bigger than this, that, and the third.
He
DDG is another. I agree. I say DDG is another. I don't know if he's a. Yeah, I say he's a better example. I agree.
Post, man, we gotta have to do a different video on Post, in my opinion. Talented artist, but ultra low key. But hey, let's go ahead.
It's the same thing.
So overall, y'all would say that exposure to the genre, as far as like more people kind of playing a part in it, you think that's been a good or a bad thing? That's another modern aspect of hip hop. I think that's kind of there that wasn't before.
I'd say a bad thing. Cause too many hands, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Facts.
Yeah,
I agree.
I got you.
And then you'll have more people, and then you got more people like once it don't work, now they want to trash hip hop like they weren't trying to be Miley Cyrus.
Here's a perfect example.
Riley Cyrus.
This is what I think. When hip hop first started to get more like trendy and
don't say it.
Really started to get into the mainstream for real.
No,
this is when you see a lot of people come to hip hop and kind of try to cash in.
Right.
So you ended up seeing a lot of, as FD signifies, say a lot of bad faith actors that were just there in the spot to get money and get a piece of hip hop, and then they leave, and then they go back to being
country
a folk
music.
singer.
Yeah,
exactly.
Imagine that.
Miley Cyrus.
And like I said, I think that's something that got started with the internet. That was
definitely
impossible before. Before, if you were within hip hop, there were certain gatekeepers, again, as FD said, to where it was like they kind of kept hip hop sort of gate kept in the sense that not everybody could get in and just take from this thing. It was something you had to be really come up through and really care for, and the passion
definitely.
and the love had to be there. Whereas now, that's why you see by the mid 2010s, you see people like Miley Cyrus collaborating with Mike
Metro Boom. I thought it was
like
Metro Boomin. I'm tripping.
And it
was Mike Will made it. That's right.
And you see just a lot of people were not just kind of like acting within the genre.
Didn't Katy Perry do something with Migos? Am I tripping?
Yeah, she did.
All right.
She did a song with Juicy J.
That song was fire, low key, to be real with you.
It's me and every day. Yeah, bro.
But y'all see what I'm saying? It's like once hip hop really first kind of started getting that mainstream, how many pop singers, R&B singers you see come to hip hop, knock on a hip hop door and say, "Hey man, let me get a piece of this." Today, how many of them are still around? When has Post Malone worked with another rapper since 2019-20?
Fact.
I don't listen to Post Malone.
He hasn't worked with another rapper, since.
When was the last time you seen Post Malone sway Lee? You seen him with Morgan Wallen? You seen him with Lainey Wilson? You seen him with Dolly Parton?
Yeah, not like
Which one?
like that's
with that thick white girl?
Yes, sir.
who?
Shit, you already know.
But
That's beside
I think that what it really comes down to is that the 90s gave us more classics than any other era. I feel like
classic albums, classic songs,
Classic albums.
just classic artists, legendary artists.
Right, but now the
In some cases.
now the actual like rappers that care about their craft, like that are like lesser known, they don't really get the shine like that. Like they like I feel like they should.
Yeah.
Like
in
a
this
Smino
day
or
and age.
somebody.
Exactly like a Smino. Exactly.
J.I.D. That's a very big example of that. Who's another underground? JPEG Mafia?
JPEG Mafia.
I
Yep.
ain't never really got into JPEG Mafia like that.
That's almost
straight.
like somebody that be like almost that MF Doom of today.
Yo, yeah,
That's
definitely.
a very bold claim.
Not in the sense of like him as an artist in terms of like rapping wise, but in terms of like that underground sort of person
okay.
that
Right.
picture that never really makes it to the mainstream, but is always respected on a cultural level. JPEG
Right.
Mafia is one
No,
of the people that
exactly.
I think people would say that. We say Denzel Curry, but and see that's another thing. We kind of focus on the guys that are in the middle of the genre, but not really the real like underground people for real.
Right, like Jordan Lucas, but it's fine.
People don't
it's fine.
they don't really take the time to like really dig for artists.
For sure.
Like
Right.
they're just like, oh, this is who's popular. I'm gonna listen to them. Like there are no like deep cuts. There are no like
That's that old head mentality
You know what I'm saying?
right there. That's that old head shit.
what
Where it's like people say everything trash, but they don't go out of their way to deep
to yeah.
to really
I
find
ain't
something.
like that.
No, I was just saying that's an old head thing to do.
But y'all been calling me a whole head this whole time.
I'm just saying though, that's an old head thing to do.
So
Well,
what
you,
you?
you can't have all the qualities. Maybe you just a little old,
True.
just a little bit.
True. That's why it's all.
Because people say something like "sexy red" trash, therefore all the rap today is trash. But they don't
Okay,
look for
yeah.
somebody like for example, a female rapper who really is doing something like a no name
Or Rhapsody.
Rhapsody, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Or
I ain't heard Rhapsody shit since 2015.
right, yeah.
Well, nigga,
With
that's
La-
your
with-
fault. She
with-
dropped the album like what last year? Or something?
Yeah. She dropped
Yeah,
one
that's
last
your
year.
fault.
I'm
Slipping.
tripping. Matter of fact, no, I lied. Because Rhapsody, Kendrick had a song with her back in the day.
Was it, what
2017.
what was it?
I can't remember what that song called.
It was,
Complexion.
It was either Complexion or Power.
It's
It was
complexion.
Power. I'm talking about Power.
Because
Oh,
Power
okay.
Power was
On
on
Layla's
her
Wisdom.
album.
Yeah.
On Layla's Wisdom,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, no, I like no, I agree.
Not that great because she dropped like a year ago. So
Right.
yeah, you need to.
Yeah.
I gotta get
She
with
got a
the
Wayne
program.
feature on that album too. I think.
Word.
Really?
No, but Rhapsody's really one of my favorite rappers of all time.
But yeah, no,
I wouldn't say my top 10 personally, but it's
She tough though.
but she's she's mad
Definitely
tough.
tough.
Top 25 definitely.
definitely tough for sure.
But my thing is like other rappers like Vince Staples is out there too. Absol is super underrated, bro. He's one of my favorite rappers too.
That's stuff like that is why I see rappers being independent because imagine being stuck on a label with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, yeah. That's the
that's
only reason
that's
why
terrible.
I mean, okay, I won't say this like it's
Q, in my opinion, was the one that kind of stood
the
out the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Aside from Kendrick, but once Q took his hiatus after like 2019, it was pretty much a wrap.
Yeah, because
All of them went into hibernation after 2019. To be real with you.
Yeah, because nobody really cared much for Blue Lips when it came out. Now, real ones know that it was a fire album, but
Isaiah Rashad's album came out in 2020 when nobody really talked about that much.
yeah, same thing with Soul Burger, Absol's new album that came out last year
I think that
or 24 last year.
Once
you know.
they got past a certain point, it really just became SZA and Kendrick Lamar's label. I
True,
think that's
yeah.
the legacy of
Yeah.
TDE.
'Cause-
Unfortunate.
But
Because
that-
J Rock, I'm sorry, bro,
Yeah.
but J Rock, as far as Black Hippie, he's probably the worst member. Not even because he's bad, but he's just the worst because we don't hear really nothing from him anymore.
Yeah.
That's
supposed to have a project soon.
Well, I'll listen to it.
But that I think the reason that Kendrick and SZA are so like, I guess, seated comfortably in the position that they are is because they're so separate. So like it's hard for another rapper to kind of fit in there, but it's like oh R&B sing, yeah, we'll take you on there too, because
Yeah.
you're not on the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like if your other rappers stand next to Kendrick, it's like, you know, what?
Oh yeah, because they offer two things in their lane. Okay, I got what you mean. Because
she's a
Kendrick Lamar is like the rapper, like the lyrical miracle. I shouldn't say lyrical miracle spiritual, like on some rapping fast shit, on some. Who was one of them rappers that was like that?
MGK.
Oh yeah, but
MGK too.
I think Kendrick.
Oh, he's another one that dropped hip hop too. That's wild.
True.
Well, then again, he got put. I'm about to say he got kicked
He
out.
got booted out.
They threw him out the house.
Oh, they threw him. Oh yeah, no. M said, "Nah, we ain't having this." There you go.
They threw him out the house.
There you go. Shit, that's
Just-
another conversation right there. Definitely, we didn't even touch that much on Eminem. Shit, we get definitely in terms of rap superstardom. That's a way wild card for real.
Yeah.
That's the wild card. But yeah, no, Kendrick.
I'll say this undeniably for me. Just real quick, Eminem is probably the best disser in all of rap and all of hip hop history, in my honest opinion.
It's up there.
He's like in my opinion.
His stock
Yeah,
was
I mean-
raised.
Yeah, his stock. His stock was
Foot on
definitely.
niggas'
But my
asses.
thing is, if Eminem got info on you, oh no, he'll dish you in a whole bunch of different ways. But then again, you could say that a lot of his opponents really couldn't fight back as much. You know, a lot of his opponents were more undercard and
Benzino.
like Benzino and I think his toughest opponent I would say was probably either MGK or what's his name? Cannabis.
Ja Rule? But that was more 50s thing. That's more 50s.
Ja Rule, no.
No, I'm talking about in terms of like people that were visible.
I really don't like that nigga. you remember that video? I really just don't like that nigga.
And then you saw what happened to Nick Cannon a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, people didn't take Nick serious as a rapper anyways, but I mean,
Nobody. The niggas on the show don't take Nick Cannon seriously.
But my thing is, I figured since it's a comedy show, I figured it was a joke. Then I heard him rap. I'm like, good God,
yeah,
this
this
is pretty shitty. This is bad. This ain't.
No, that definitely ain't it. Shit. But with that being said, any final thoughts on this whole topic we've been discussing? Anything y'all want to add?
Oh, you were gonna mention something about Kendrick, right?
I mean, we could save that for another video, honestly.
Okay, in that case, I'm good.
Y'all good?
Straight.
All right. Well, shit. Hey, let us know what y'all think. 90s versus, I guess, modern hip hop. What do you think is the best and worst aspects of both? And just let us know.
Yeah.
And if we want to keep this format going, kind of just an open discussion, we can. Regarding hip hop, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to do some more, bro.
For sure, definitely. But yeah, shit, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I've been Jay.
This has been Rodney.
Chillybear.
And we are LATD. Remember, y'all, always look at the details. Peace.